The Hansen report's not a win-lose. And anybody who takes the time to read it understands it's not. Okay? What we've said is, we're not going to subsidize a failed business model. And what I've said to everyone is, the racing industry and everybody else, if you have other options that are better than the ones that the Hansen Commission has proposed, I'm all ears. But I can't justify subsidies like the ones that have been ongoing on an ongoing basis to racing. So racing interests understand that, and they know they need to come up with a new business model. And we're anxious and happy to help them transition to that new business model. But I have to have a business model that I believe works. The Hansen Commission lays out 4 different ones. If there are more that come forward, I'm happy to consider them, and happy to continue to work with the industry to do that. So this kind of false dichotomy that's been set up, I think, for political advantage, that, oh, the governor hates the racing industry and he wants it to go away. Read the report. It doesn't say that anywhere. But what I have said is that we must give Atlantic City a full and complete opportunity to succeed.
New day for Fort Monmouth and for Monmouth County, as we currently are seeing 5,000 of our citizens being moved to Aberdeen, Maryland to their new positions. It is critically important that this authority is formed to begin the redevelopment effort here in Monmouth County.
I want to thank Governor Christie for signing this bill. It's the second economic development job creation bill that I've sponsored that Governor Christie has signed. The governor, we're going to keep them coming.
Good.
And again, Senator Beck, as she mentioned, brought the local community, Monmouth County, and the mayors together to get this bill passed.
Economic development is priority number 1 for this administration, and we have to put our people back to work. And while Declan is correct, and I thank him for his leadership on this as well, that it will be a very sad day when Fort Monmouth closes. And I think it's a mistake by the federal government to have closed this place. And I'm saddened by the fact that we weren't able to effectively stand up and fight to keep it open. We now have to look at it as an opportunity to bring new economic growth and development to this region and to our state. And I believe that with the structure that's been put in place by this legislation, we give ourselves the very best chance to be able to bring top-notch economic development and jobs to this region, to this facility, and to our state. And so I'm ready to get to work immediately with doing the part that we need to do in the administration, which is to begin to work with local and county officials to populate this body, to make sure that we get the very best people who will work in concert not only with state government and with the private sector, but with local governments throughout this region to make sure that the interests of citizens are acknowledged and protected as we go through the redevelopment of this fort. And so all those things are very, very important, but priority number 1 is to try to bring good paying private sector jobs back to this facility, and so that the loss of Fort Monmouth, while will always be something that I think was a mistake, we can at least try to make something good out of the mistake that was made by the federal government.
The primary weakness that we found in the system is the way that the school districts in New Jersey are being starved financially through the granting of tax abatements, because the property tax receipts are lost by the schools and are not being replaced. We've made in the report a series of recommendations. First and foremost is involving the school districts and the counties and the state more directly in this process. Anytime you have a decision-making process where you have one entity making a decision, then that entity always benefits through granting of abatements, being the towns themselves. Other entities are also being affected here, but they have no say in the process. That's a recipe for real poor decision-making. As the property tax receipts are being lost on the local level, particularly at the school districts, those districts come to rely more and more on state aid and state assistance. And so you end up with a situation where the local districts don't have an adequate funding base to pay for their operations. They need to come to the state for help, and state taxpayers end up footing the bill. On the whole, the granting of municipal tax abatements is something that costs hundreds of millions of dollars across the state. Absolutely, New Jersey is not the only state that's struggling with this issue. It's a difficult issue and it's a complicated topic. What we did was we surveyed practices that other states have adopted to try to identify which of those practices should be incorporated here into New Jersey's program. There are a number of specific items, for example, ensuring a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis that considers the interests of the school districts and the counties in the process, ensuring that abatements are only granted when it's necessary for the development to proceed, issues along those lines, and also potentially incorporating school districts financially in payments that are being made in lieu of property taxes, which are called pilot payments, ensuring that schools get a portion of those so that they're not left out.